Well, today is the 18th of April, 2018, and it is about 10 minutes before 10 in the morning. And as you can see, it's a beautiful day. And if I go out here, you can see also why I'm up. This is early in the morning for me to be up. Why I'm up and around, I mean, because the grass is in dire need of trimming. So we're going to see if we can do that today. We're going to de-winterize the Yazoo mower, the 1954 60-inch Yazoo mower, and maybe the little Sabo mower, and see if we can get some of the lawn trimmed. The blades on the big mower are very dull, and I really need to sharpen them, but I'm not going to do that today. It's going to take too long. I want to get this, as long as the weather is as nice as it is, I want to get the lawn mowed. However, first, more importantly, let's see here. We're gonna make ourselves a coffee. And let the day begin, because the day won't begin if I don't have a coffee. That's all there is to it. I find that I put things off quite often, things that I want to make a video of, because it always takes me so much time, and it's a bit more difficult for me because I cannot hold a camera in my hands. And as a consequence, I always have to have a tripod and have things set up, and that limits, of course, what you see, and I can't move the camera around. I'm going to, when I mow today, if I get to mowing, if the Yazoo hasn't completely given up its service after this long winter, I'm going to use a head cam, my action cam on my headband, but for this kind of thing, I mean not for this kind of thing, but for working on the mower, I don't want to do that because I can't keep track of what is in view and what isn't. Very nice day today. As I said, it's about about 65 degrees Fahrenheit this morning. It'll probably get up into the mid-70s today. I've been very busy these last weeks, and it just I haven't had enough time or energy to make a video. I've been busy with two very long, complicated translations that I've been working on. One of them is finished, the other one is the rough translation is done, but I always have to go back and reread and correct my English sentences, because when I translate, I oftentimes have to translate at least this technical stuff that I'm doing. I have to translate it word for word or sentence for sentence, and of course in the end then it doesn't sound like English really. So the words are English, but the sentence structure isn't right, and I have to add idioms and that sort of thing. So it what I do generally, and that's what I've done now, I finished the rough translation and I let it rest for 2 days. Then I go back and reread what I've done and correct as I go. This particular paper is about 30 pages long, and it's on kind of chemicals that can get into the environment, and they need to be studied to know what effect they're having on the environment. They actually get into the human food chain. So there's interest, of course. My t-shirt's all wet here. Oh, yeah. It'll dry. Okay. All right, I'm going to have my coffee and then I'm going to drag the camera with the tripod, my telephoto lens and whatever. I'll drag it outside and we'll see if we can get the mowers working. Back in a couple of minutes. I don't know how to shut this thing off. Where is the camera? Where is the lens? Where is the... Well, as I'm wont to do, I frittered away half an hour watching YouTube videos and drinking my coffee, but when you get to be 3/4 of a century old or older, you just kind of have to forgive yourself for these sort of things. So you can see here better why it's necessary to get the mowers running. Got a bunch of junk over there that I'm going to have to go around when I mow, but that's just the way it is. We haven't gotten around to removing that yet. And on the other side here, we trimmed the roses the other day, and the trimmings are all down here on the ground, so I'll have to get a fork and get those out of the way to mow here as well. So let's get to it. The first project is going to be to get this tarpaulin off the mower. So I will begin that. I'm going to have to bring you on this side today because otherwise you'll be looking right into the sun. Later on I can turn the camera around, but we'll work with it from here at the moment. Okay, there it is in all its glory. The 63-year-old Yazoo 60-inch YR60 mower with a Wisconsin AGND 1-cylinder engine, and we're going to see if we can get it running and get some lawn mowed. I don't have a lot of petrol, a lot of gasoline, I realize. I guess it either evaporated or ran out. I was sure I filled the tank before the winter, but I just looked at it and it doesn't look like it's got much in it, so I'll have to do what I can. I have about 5 liters, I believe, and Karen will have to, or we'll have to drive this evening into Alsfeld and get some more gas. But for the time being, it's going to be a question of getting this thing running. First of all, I want to see if I can turn it over. I can check that right now, in fact. Yeah, it's going to turn over. Yeah. It isn't frozen up. I put some oil in it last year. Put something in through the spark plug hole. I don't remember. Some kind of oil anyway to keep it from seizing up over the winter. Okay, I'll get the battery and then we'll see if we can go. Oops, sorry. And then see if we can get it running. This camera is very nice because I can operate it from my cell phone. Here you can see well, you can't see the image, I suppose, but you can see that I have my cell phone and I can start and stop the camera from there and control it otherwise. But I can't talk to you when I'm over there, so I'll just put some gas in it. Everything I own is very old. Not my smartphone or camera, but otherwise that has an advantage. For instance, with this 5-liter gas can that I have there, it has just a plain ordinary old plastic spout on it with no safety vents or anything at all, so it works without a problem. This is all the gas I have, so I hope it's enough to get the whole back lawn mowed. I want to save a little bit for the small mower so I can make sure it runs. Better put some more in, otherwise I'd hate to get stuck out on the lawn somewhere there, because you can't move this mower if the engine won't run. That ought to do it. Okay, we'll put this aside. Well, I just realized I need to check the engine oil, and it needs oil. Well, the transaxle needs oil too. There's this leaky seal on the left wheel, and I just haven't gotten around to trying to find one. I have to find out the size, and I'm sure it's available here. It's probably nothing I'd have to order from the States, but I just haven't gotten around to doing it. And but like I say, the transaxle needs some oil. It uses the same oil as the engine, 30 weight standard non-detergent. And the noise you hear in the background are the children from the kindergarten next door. So this is one of the joys of living here, but it's okay. It's kind of a nice sound if they aren't screaming too loud. boy. Yeah. I'm probably going to have to fix that seal because it took at least a half a liter of oil, the transaxle. So it's probably time to do something about it. It's not good for this tire down here on this side either, that it's constantly full of oil running out of the axle. The Bendix is stuck, so I'm going to have to free it up. I have to take the cover off here. I have my cell phone. I'll take a short video of it from here so you can see what I'm doing. Okay, that's the starter, and the Bendix is under this cover here. So I'm going to take off a couple of screws there and take the cover off and give it a tap. Maybe a little bit of penetrating oil, and then it'll work again, I hope. So that's the Bendix gear here, and it is now loose, which means when I hit the starter, it turns the engine over. But it's not disengaging, I see, so I'm going to probably have to, well, it may actually, oh yeah, it goes back by itself then. Okay. So it's back together again. There are 4 little screws that hold that cover on, and with my shaky hands, I have quite a bit of trouble getting the screws back in place, but they're accessible, so I was able to do that. So now, if we watch the pulley, well, I don't know why it worked a minute ago without the cover on. Well, I'll give it a shot of CRC Power Lube and see if that helps. Then I'll put a little grease on it anyway, just so that it stays greased up a little bit. I hope that helps. Okay, I have cleaned the Bendix gear with brake cleaner, then sprayed some thin oil on it and put some grease down at the end, hoping that then it won't stick like it was. I had to clean this switch here. It had apparently rusted inside, so that I couldn't even pull it open. I sprayed some oil on it and then used a pliers to pull it open, to pull it out. The gas is on. The gas is, there's a stopcock there. The battery terminals are tight. So I think we can give it let's see if it turns over. We'll try to give it a start, a cold start. Not really, but an old start. Okay. Now maybe we should give it a little gas. Okay. Yeah, I had the throttle was also stuck from being so cold. From being so wet all winter, I guess. So maybe have to use a choke. Sometimes it goes without the choke, but there we go. Something isn't quite right yet. It's running too fast, and the throttle doesn't seem to have any effect on it. Well, anyway, it started, so I'll have to look into see what's going on here. Seems to be something down here with the governor lever. The governor doesn't move. Oh, well, I can see. If I have to take that apart, it's going to be a mess. Well, I was pretty worried there because the governor had hung up. Apparently it was rusted, or at least so gunked up that it didn't work anymore. And the engine was running at a very high speed. I was afraid it was going to blow itself up, so I shut it off, and I managed to squirt a bunch of penetrating oil down in there to the shaft where the governor arm goes into the
into the crankcase, and that seems, after a while, I banged it with a hit the governor arm with a hammer a couple times, and it loosened up, and now it seems to be working fine. So thank goodness, because I was already worried about how we were going to get the lawn mowed today. I'm going to have a bite to eat first, and then I'm going to go out and try to mow much of this. I have to be done before 2 o'clock because we have a quiet period from 2 till 3 during the week, and I try to keep that so as not to bother people. The mower is very loud, of course. So there you are. There we've got a major problem solved, apparently, and at least for me. And so we'll get to it now. Okay, I'll bring you back later when I mow. I should mention that it's an extremely warm day now. It's probably in the high 70s. Very pleasant. Not a breeze. Wind still. And so this afternoon is going to be plenty warm, I'm sure. I noticed the grass is still very damp. Probably is best for me to wait until this evening to mow the rest. But I'm going to try to get this done and make sure the mower works all right. So here we go.